This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
So I will call this meeting to order at 6:01 p.m. First up is open time to the public. Is there anyone here who would like to say anything that's not currently on the agenda for tonight? All right. Okay, and then moving on to new business. First up, we have our notice of intent for 31 White Loaf Road. Start by reading the notice that was in the Gazette. Southampton Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on May 2nd, 2024 on a notice of intent permit for Christine and Timothy Blaze for construction of a single-family home, driveway, and septic system at 31 White Loaf Road. Meeting will be held by Zoom and will begin at 6 p.m. Zoom link can be found on mytowngovernment.org and will be available 48 hours before the meeting. Copies of the application may be examined at the Conservation Office and/or the Town Clerk's Office in the Southampton Town Hall, 210 College Highway in Southampton. And that was published on the May 10th edition of the Daily Hampshire Gazette. So do we have the applicants or representatives here?
I'm Lisa Narkowitz. I'm from Heritage Land Surveying and Engineering.
Perfect. Okay. Did we receive the fee for the legal notice, George?
Yeah, I don't believe we did, but I have to check that. Lisa, do you remember sending that to me?
I do not remember sending that to you. Could you tell me the amount and then I can get that over to you?
I'll see if I have it. Hold on.
Okay.
I believe it's $161.17.
Sounds very close. No, I don't have that in the computer. Maybe I have it in the file. Hold on. Madam Chair, I recommend that you continue with the hearing, and if we did not receive the legal notice fee, the hearing be continued to the next meeting.
Okay. I'm comfortable with that. Other commission members?
Good.
Yay. Okay.
That's fine.
All right, go ahead, Lisa.
Okay. The property is located on the northerly side of White Loaf Road, kind of midpoint between Middle Road and Strong Road. I don't know if you want me to share my screen.
Sure.
Have the plan up. I can remember how to do this. Oh yeah. So it was recently subdivided from a 47-acre parcel of land to create a 6-acre parcel of land. The owner to be is the daughter to the owner who lives across the street. They're going to be building a single family house and a septic system, driveway, well, and some site grading. We had the wetlands delineated on March 13th by GZA, and there are wetlands located on both the easterly and westerly sides of the property. The limit of work is kind of this dashed line here, and approximately 8,285 square feet of work will be done within the buffer zone. No work is proposed within the resource area or the 25-foot conservation zone. The driveway will be paved. The grading I did as such so that there's a swale along the southerly portion of the property that runs along and discharges into an existing catch basin. The house is situated kind of on a higher portion of a knoll, and then down gradient of that, way down gradient of that in a field is where the septic system is proposed, where perks were done. The work along the roadway to grade will require the removal of 8 trees. And the achievement in dropping in elevation to get to the septic system, I think this was one of the questions, was that there's kind of a clean out and a drop manhole, which is shown on the second page to show that the significant drop in elevation down to the leach trenches from the house, which is located higher up on the property. I think I covered all the questions, but the other thing I didn't cover was DEP had mentioned a vernal pool. I kind of did a overlay, and the limit of work is approximately 650 feet away from that vernal pool. Are there any questions?
I have a question. If you could, it looks like the closest spot to the wetland is down by the driveway.
Yep.
If I'm reviewing that, how far is? Can you kind of zoom in on the driveway? Just talk
Sure.
a little bit about the area, because that looks like the closest.
Yep. Sorry, I have my husband's computer, which doesn't have my Adobe, which I can zoom quickly to.
Okay. Thank you for doing this.
Okay. So the limit of work is 32 feet away from the wetlands. And then there's probably another 20 feet to the driveway, but maybe 10 for grading.
So all the trees that you talked about removing are within that limit of work. They're not.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're the kind of hatched looking ones.
Oh, okay. Thank you. That makes sense. Cool.
And then there's a little bit of work in the buffer zone for the wetlands on this side, just kind of a little grading for the septic system right in there. But the majority is just some site grading for the house and then down near the driveway.
Mm-hmm. While you're in this phases of installing this proposed driveway, are there plans for any protective barriers between that area of work and the wetland?
Yep, we're gonna, on the second page is the fiber logs, straw wattles, 12-inch straw wattles will be installed. And we could propose to put
That's good. Yeah.
some fiber, filter fabric on the catch basin down the end of the swale along the roadway.
Mm-hmm. Right. Although the roadway is, not the Conservation Commission's jurisdiction, obviously it's a good thing for you to consider to not upset the town. Keep the stuff off the road as the trucks move in and out of the works area.
Yeah.
What is the highest grade change in the project, or steepest?
So it goes the 333 down to where the septic system is to 314-ish.
Okay. What about for regrading? Is it just basically for that area, the regrading was covered in the area for the septic?
Yeah, they didn't want to do a whole lot of, excavating work. They said they just were going to limit it to installing the septic system and then the house and driveway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean the septic's pretty far. It's 100 mostly outside the 100-foot buffer. So yeah, it's pretty far away from everything.
Yeah, the place where they get the perks.
Yeah.
So this looks good. I was initially under the impression that it was an RDA, and that's my fault. This is well within the jurisdictional area. So I'm glad that you're here with an NOI. My mistake. Can you explain the grading around the house and the driveway? I'm trying to make sense of the symbology on this.
Yeah, we didn't really get into showing the grading around the house, but kind of want to keep the probably the 131 is going to be wrapping around here, and then just maintain like a 3-to-1 in here, and then down here there's, if you tell, the 316 then goes to 316. Yeah, 316, and then 315, and then it kind of swales that way. So all this kind of sheds to this point, which this is kind of a high point right there, and then sheds that way.
Okay, yeah. They're closer to the house. If you scroll up a little. Oh, yep, and it follows parallel to the driveway too. You see the proposed limit of work and erosion control. So we're talking about the same, sorry, did you say straw wattles?
Yeah.
Along that perimeter?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I think the other thing that I don't think we've talked about yet is the 25-foot conservation zone. In the past, we've asked folks to delineate that so that we can mitigate against future encroachment.
Okay.
So that 20-foot area, I'm trying to stay true to what we've done in the past, and we've asked that there be some kind of marking. It's more common now. I see it a lot.
Birdhouse, or I find signage to be kind of obtrusive for a home.
Yep.
Right. We never really settled on an exact type of structure. It could be a stake. It could be a rock. This one is a complicated boundary though, and if you look at it's all within the parcel that's being created, I think. So it would be a lot. It would be a lot to identify all that. do we have the same, I think you had it earlier actually, with the aerial imagery on top of it? Because I know this is an agricultural area, so it's possible it's already mowed up to the resource.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, actually,
George, what I'm talking about with the 25-foot marker, is that a stipulation that you would recommend applying in this case?
Yeah, excuse me. Yes, in one of the stipulations that I recommended, it does call for conservation zone.
Okay.
so now would you say that it would just be, because this is the property line, that you put monumentation along the property line to
Yes.
then, yeah,
That would be fine.
And we've always accepted flagging as well.
But I think it's being used for agricultural purposes, just guessing from that aerial photography. Is that true?
yeah,
So, in which case, they don't want monuments along areas in which they're trying to farm.
yeah.
What are the farming activities on this property? Could you talk about that?
I cannot talk about that. I should have had the homeowner come on to discuss that topic. I don't
Okay.
know. I do believe that it is in agricultural zoning. I mean, what is it? 95A or 65A. It's
Chapter
farming,
61A, agriculture exemption, yeah.
agricultural land, and agricultural land can be passed to a daughter and build a home without having to take it out of agricultural land.
I think that might be true.
But I'm not sure the extent of if they do hay fields or what the agricultural use is.
I think Dan might be getting after the same leading question that I am. And I'll just be blunt. There is an ag exemption if it's been in current use, so agriculture within the last 5 years. So it could be an exempt situation.
Okay.
But I think that's commercial agriculture within the last 5 years. So if they're bringing product to market, if hay gets sold from this area.
Okay.
So can we leave it at that? We need to have a determination. We'd like the markers if it's not being used for. There's no proof that it's being used for agricultural purposes. If it is being used for agricultural purposes, then there's an exemption to putting up those stones, which would impede the agricultural use. So there's a determination there, right?
Yeah. I mean, if it is agriculture, maybe in this case we just waive that.
But we don't, without the homeowner here, I'm not sure the representative has that knowledge.
Yeah.
Or do they? Do you?
Whether it's hayed, whether they
is that field being used for agricultural purposes or not? It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't want to limit anybody's right to farm.
Right.
But we also want to protect the wetlands. So we want to make sure we understand the use for that land.
Yeah.
So we make the right call.
I know the owner lives across the street and she has farm animals. As to whether she sells the product, I don't know the answer to that.
I'm going to go ahead and say yes, just based on the most current imagery. I'm looking at something else on my screen, if I could pull it up for you guys.
do I have to unshare or?
I think I just have to figure out what I'm doing. Where's my? Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
if I may, while the discussion was transpiring, I did look up the file and we have not received the legal notice fee.
So we'll be continuing this to the next meeting, at least. So we could give the opportunity for you to research this.
Okay.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
We see a screen. I should say that. I don't know if it's your screen.
Okay. Can you see a map?
Yeah.
All right. So this is 2023 imagery. This is the BFW. PBW, sorry. It looks like it's already being mowed through this section.
Yeah.
And if that's agricultural, then they're already using the exemption.
How about we just ask, since we're going to the next meeting anyways, just ask, can you confirm that so we're making the right call here? If it's being used and has the agricultural exemption, and in which case we would not require any landmarks
Okay.
to indicate the, what do we call it, the conservation area? The
Conservation
Yeah.
zone.
Thank you. Question for George: were there any other conditions you had? I know you have like a checklist. Is it?
Yes.
Are we at the point where we can run through that?
It was attached to my agent's report. There's about, let me see here. There's about 16 of them. And speaking of conditions, if I may, if the commission wants the agricultural exemption issue answered in a declaratory manner, the applicant, rather the property owner, can apply for an RDA for what would be known as a negative number 5 determination, which is saying that the area is exempt due to the agricultural exemptions. They just have to prove it.
Okay.
And where is that done through? The town or?
Yes.
Yeah.
It'd be an an IDA application. You want to look at the negative number 5.
Okay.
And you'd have to explain why. But if they granted that, then your agricultural exemption is confirmed.
Is that the only way to verify?
No, it is not. It's just an option you have through the commission that would clarify the question for the next minimum 5 years.
Okay. I will see how the applicant feels about that, because that would require more
Yes, it would.
my time to file that.
It's easy for us to spend your client's money.
Yeah.
And by the way, Brittany, I will report to DEP to mark that potential vernal pool is a property line of this property.
Okay. All right, then do we want to make a motion to continue this meeting to, oh gosh, what is the next one? June 3rd?
June 3rd.
Yes. All right.
Second.
Great. And oh, were you seconding that? Did I just make the motion? Okay.
Either way, I can make the motion. It
Would
just
you
sounded
like
like
to make the motion?
I would like to make the motion
Great.
as expressed by Mrs. Taylor.
Fantastic. All right. Would anyone like to second that?
I'll second.
Thanks. All right. Okay, so then we'll just vote unless anybody else has any questions or comments. If not, just to take a vote, Jake,
Aye.
Dan,
I
Kathleen,
Hi.
Hazel's not here, and myself, aye. All right. Okay, then we'll see you on June 3rd.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay. Oh, got too much on my screen. Okay, I think that's all we had for new business. Old business, Mountain Waters, the Garfinkel CR approval. I think I saw Bridget here.
Hi, yes, I'm here. I'm just in the parking lot of West Hampton's town hall because I have another meeting with them after this. So that's why my
good
video
for
is off.
you. Okay, all right, take it away.
All right. So this is just continuing from our conversation last meeting where you all reviewed the conservation restriction for the Garfinkel property as part of the Mountain Waters project. So to recap, the town through the Conservation Commission will be acquiring this property and due to the use of CPA funds, granting a conservation restriction to Kestrel Land Trust. And so at last week's meeting, everyone had a chance to review the CR and input any final comments. And then I submitted it back to the state. We now have authorization from the state to proceed with local signatures. So I'm asking tonight if the Conservation Commission would vote to approve to grant the CR to Kestrel Land Trust and sign.
I'd like to make that motion if we need one.
second.
I'll second it. This is Kathleen.
Okay. I think Dan beat you to it.
That's okay. That's okay. She got
You want
this
me to
one.
give it to her?
Oh yeah,
All right.
I talk
I'll
enough.
already second.
Okay. Any other questions or comments by other commission members before we vote? Sorry, guys, that's my dog. Jake,
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
Kathleen,
Aye.
and myself, aye.
Bridget? Bridget,
Yes.
to whom should the vote be, who should I send a notification of the vote to?
So if you have the signature page, I can resend just the signature page. That makes it easier. And then we'll need hard signatures from everyone notarized. And then I can either
Okay.
pick it up at the town hall. That might be best if you just want to leave it with the town clerk or something like that.
That'd be fine. Send it to the town hall to conservation. I'll make sure it is ready for the commission member's signature when I get it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And then just a follow up. So along with this, I'm going to ask for next meeting as part of the town purchasing the land through the Conservation Commission. The Conservation Commission is going to need to sign the deed and the acceptance of deed. So I think that might require another vote and round of signatures, but we can save that for next time.
Okay,
All right. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks, Bridget.
Okay. All right, moving on to Alice Brown Conservation Area. There is much to discuss. Oh, gosh. Does anyone need a recap? I know I went on the site walk. Kathleen and I were on the site walk.
I missed that one. I was upset I wasn't able to go. This is the well, Mark Joy is involved, right?
Yes,
For the trail reroutes. I don't know if the reroutes, but improvements.
yes, yeah. I actually had taken pictures and completely forgot to send them to everybody, which I can certainly do after the meeting. But there was definitely a lot going on. Let me see if I can find my notes. Unless Mark, do you want to talk a bit about it?
Yeah, as a quick recap, I put together a list of what I thought needed to be done in there, and in the December meeting, got the go-ahead to do things that weren't in a restricted area. You know, the 5 dry places of the 400 places in there. And then we were going to do a walkthrough in the fall. It snowed, had to wait till April. And then when we did the walkthrough, you know, it was pretty evident that between the rainy year last year and some of the logging work, some of the trails got pretty messed up and they're getting widened, and hikers are, you know, going around the wetlands and making more of a mess. So I got the impression that you know, one of the big things that we may want to do is actually cut off a logging road so that people don't go wandering into the wetlands.
I know we did also talk about rerouting an area where it was kind of going through a wetland, and anticipating more rainy springs. We were worried about just kind of aerial flooding. I'm trying to find my pictures really quick. Okay, I have a few of them. I have a couple pictures. Jake, if I email you pictures, are you able to share them, or will it take too much time?
Yeah, that's fine. I can do that.
Okay. Send these if my email will cooperate.
Yeah, I think the way the stream cuts across the property, there's really no good place for a stream crossing. They're all problematic and have wet areas before or after the stream. And one so depending on where we want to put a stream crossing eventually, if we're talking a 5-year plan, you know, that could play into rerouting this trail. My fear is that after 2 or 3 years of walking on the new trail, the ground would be depressed enough that water would show up there anyway. So
yeah.
Okay. Do you have the photos?
I emailed them. There's 4, so it might be taking a little bit of time.
No.
Let's see if
Can you see anything?
we've gone for a minute.
I think we see your desktop.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there's
Okay.
some pictures.
Weird. All right, here we go.
Yeah,
Oh, this is pretty wet. Yeah.
All right.
I could lose a shoe in that.
Yes.
yeah, you can see that hikers have been helping maintain the trail by taking some of the trees that were taken down across the trail and moving them to step on them. So, and the discs are mine, but the other logs were moved there. But it is it used to be only wet between the tree and the furthest crossways logs, and since the logging and last year's rain, now the area in front of the tree is all wet. So it's almost doubled or tripled the wet part of the trail. And this is all part of the logging road from the late 90s, early 2000 logging.
This reminds me of a comment I had in the last meeting. We approved construction of a bridge, and I mentioned how it'd be nice if we got into the practice of, you know, we don't have to do everything as a prefab structure. But I was at a conference and folks were mentioning these helical piles as like mounting points. So maybe the commission could buy some of these. I don't know if you're volunteering yourself for construction, but in that other case, is more of a bridge that spanned bank to bank, or is this could be like a bog walkway?
Yeah, more of a bog walkway is what's needed. And I am volunteering more for a muscle than planning.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be nice to have a whole trail plan. Should we move on to the other photos?
Yeah, this one is where the new logging road actually went through a designated, wet area. And, many of these logs were pushed to the side and sort of dammed up some of it so that the water level on one side is a little higher than the other. And so while we look at what it would take to remove those, in the meantime, we could just block the trail from both sides and, make one trail sort of a dead end to a high point overlooking the wetland. And the other trail would hardly be noticed if it got cut off. So,
Yeah, Brittany Gurdermith had a lot of concern about that area in particular, because of how the wetlands and the vernal pool was basically separated. George, I don't remember if you have the email that I sent you back after the site walk where I just kind of summarized everything. But she had a question as to whether or not in our forest cutting plan, if anything had been mentioned about the loggers kind of correcting anything like that they would have done during the process of logging. And I said I didn't know the answer, and I couldn't find a copy of the forest cutting plan for Alice Brown.
I'll have to research that, Brittany.
Okay. But she said that was definitely something she was very concerned about.
Okay.
Question: is this the same land that the group, the Trailblazers, are planning on working on soon?
I think I had asked them to hold off on anything for now
Okay.
on Alice Brown because we had yet to have this meeting and discussion. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
yeah, this sort of started with George and I discussing this, and then the Trailblazers started up. So I'd like to transition this work into the general Trailblazer plan.
So this was one of the bridges. And actually, I had on my map, I should have emailed that as well, where that was located, but it's kind of,
It's just before that northern
yeah.
trail.
Does this trail map seem accurate at all?
Before logging, yes.
Yeah. Let me see. I can actually screenshot this, Jake, and I'll send it to you. I tracked our walk that day, so let me see.
Oh, okay, cool.
The property lines are always a little off. So I think that the map of the trail may be more accurate than the property lines.
Brittany, are you gonna send me like a GPX file or like a screenshot or something?
I wonder.
Okay.
Technology and computers are not my thing. It's it's a JPEG.
Okay.
Sending it now.
I like that it was mentioned that possibly the section of trail could be discontinued for one of the wet areas, though. That's sort of where I was hoping we would go, is just figure out where the priorities are and kind of stick to the high trail.
Yeah.
Which one? Go ahead. Sorry.
I think it was, so if you're starting over on Pleasant Street, as we walked up, I don't know where the directional is, but if you were walking towards the top of the map, it got really wet. So then we were thinking we might need to go to the higher ground. Yeah, so the dropped pins on my screenshot, the lower one is the first photo we looked at, where it was really, really muddy. It was the kind that sucks your shoes off. And then the second pin is this bridge that we're looking at.
Okay, hold on, I'm jumping around a little bit. All right, so we have maps and we have photos. This map. This map. All right. So
I mean, it's kind of close, but
it's kind of close.
So there's actually a trail to the left of the wet area that goes down almost to the border of the property, head south to the. Yeah, so go up a little more, almost to the intersection of the spur trail. Yeah, right about, well, maybe a little more to the left, but it goes down sort of southwest and on the other side, on the left side of there's a trail that's not showing there, which is a new logging road.
Is that the one you're talking about blocking off?
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
and it continues to the left of the wet area shown on the map, and then cuts across the wet area and joins that loop. So we could cut it off at the loop and cut it off at a high point on that new logging road.
That makes sense to me. Let's get the people away from the wetland, right?
Yeah, that sounds really good to me too.
Because there's a lot of logging debris we could spread across the trail and try to make it less passable, even though it's fairly wide open.
And Mark, correct me if I'm wrong. So if we rerouted that first picture with all the mud, that would have been part of what we would be cutting off, right? We were talking about avoiding that whole area.
No, actually, because that was before the stream.
That was, okay.
It was all after the stream crossing.
Okay.
Yeah, the stream is down at the narrow part. You can
Okay.
just make it out on the map there. Yeah, if you're starting from Pleasant Street, the stream crossing is just as you get into the wider area of the property. You know,
Okay.
right? That's the stream. So the wetland is to the muddy areas to the left of that.
Okay.
So is that what we're talking about there? We want to improve some type of better crossing, like a
Yeah.
bridge type, some elevated platform,
Yeah.
some type. Okay.
That makes a lot of sense right there.
Hmm.
For like a bog bridge, something higher than like a beam that would lay on the ground. We want it a little bit elevated
Right.
and with like few contact points. I think the wisdom is that we're not supposed to use pressure treated wood in the wetland for a number of reasons, because of chemicals, but also because it's just going to degrade over time.
Right.
I don't have a supplier for those helical piles. I wish do we have any way of getting materials like that, George? I know we've gone through Amazon for like tools, but do we have a way of getting construction equipment for projects like this?
Excuse me. I'll check with Randall at Highway. That would be my first guess. Other than that, I think you'd have to probably go out to bid.
Yeah.
Perhaps if you know us like a supplier, we could probably get if it's not one of our current suppliers, like I'm guessing you can't get this at the lumber store. We can work to get an approved trail product supplier added to our list so that we can go to them. That because it may be something we want to use frequently going forward.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking, is like having these cached at the yard somewhere so we can tap into them for future wetland bridges. They don't seem like to be that difficult to build on, but I'm not sure what it'd be like to install. So if there's like another option, that'd be welcomed as well. I'm sure they're not hard to build. Like if we knew a welder, just a pipe with a flange, it'd be all.
Yeah, I wonder what the installation method is. Do you just screw it into the ground? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's like a big corkscrew, and you kind of drill them down, and then you build a platform on top of that, and then you connect between platforms.
Okay, all right. Do you need some type of tool to install it in the ground properly? Like you can't do this by hand, Or maybe,
Yeah, like, I mean, I seem really attached to this, but if other members of the commission felt like just putting wood on the ground and then building on top of that is fine.
I think it all has to do how far we're going to try to cross, right? If we can do it like in the other approach where we can go from bank to bank, that's a win. But if it's a long path, then let's look into this method.
Yeah, I mean, how many contact points are there going to be? If there's like 2 footings on either side, how many points are going to have to intersect in the middle to cross this wet area?
Yeah, if I'm remembering correctly, it's about 60 feet of mud.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty far.
Yeah.
But so we're all clear. This picture here corresponds with this point here. Yeah, that
Yes.
sounds pretty vital. The access and the whole trail system, it seems.
It sounds like what would help the town is if we could get somebody, maybe it was that guy who talked to us before who wanted to build a bridge, someone who's willing to learn about the wetland crossing construction, to build these type of things. Maybe it's that guy who, if there's some type of
Talking
class,
Gary Hillman.
maybe I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud
Clark?
here. Was it? Well, I don't know what his name was. So.
Are you talking about the guy who wants to build the bridge at Clark?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Oh. Maybe he wants to build more bridges. He wants to be the bridge builder in town. But that way we could.
I know other towns have like a trail person. Like Northampton there's like a designated conservation trails person on their planning board. So it wouldn't be that much of a stretch for us to hire somebody who could do like trail permitting design. Because it seems like a lot to ask Mark to come up with.
Yeah.
A plan and then execute on that. And while we're going to pay for the lumber, it's just like that's a lot of volunteer reliance.
Yeah, I hear you. Do we know that person that other towns use? Any of them? Like maybe we could ask them if they want to earn some extra money and do some designs for us. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what that many trail people, but they're all pretty much booked for this season. Like you kind of have to like get them in the winter and say, hey, can you build a bridge for us on this section trail? Can you do a reroute here? And then they put up their schedules. But like, and I don't know, there's different groups. Like, is it a Kestrel property? Do they share some rights to this property?
I think this is a town. This one's a town one.
I don't think Kestrel has anything on this. I mean, if it's just bog bridges and it's not associated with the wetlands or vernal pool, it might be something that the Trailblazers group can just do.
Yeah, I mean, and it could be, would this have to be an NOI? This is definitely an NOI because it's going right through the water. But if the Trailblazers could apply for an NOI with a really rough draft of what this would look like, how many contact points, what kind of contact points, then we could permit it and it could be a sanctioned activity.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Let's throw it out to the crowd. Crowdsource, see who's out there who has these skills.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's some rocks in there. I don't know, maybe bridge to the rock and then rock to the. How sketchy is that? I don't know.
I like all this brainstorming. I did enjoy the hike with Mark and Brittany, and yeah, if some of the commission members haven't been out there, I definitely say it's worth checking out. And it is one of those things. It's like if there could just be a crossing of the stream, it would just tie the whole thing together,
Yeah.
So these are some really good suggestions of how to get the ball rolling on it.
I think our next step is to try to let's talk with the Trailblazers and see if they have members that are interested in drawing up and proposing an NOI. And if they come back and oh, we don't have anybody, then we'll continue to look for somebody to to complete the design phase of this crossing, which we assume is about 60 feet right now.
Yeah.
And we should get and all of us should take a chance to get out there.
Yeah. I was hoping one of the Trailblazers representatives would be here, or Brittany. But we can definitely recap and send them an email.
I don't know if I'm ready to kick this one down the road yet. So I just pulled up the estimated priority habitat layer. It doesn't flag for estimated priority habitat. Maybe in that case, it would warrant having something like helical piles. But because we don't have priority habitat and it's just a wet area, maybe we could approve something tonight that's just understood that it's a design like this. Is that okay?
Well, I think someone's got to come back like we did for the last one. Says like, I want to make this kind of bridge and I think it's going to cost this much money, because eventually we have to pay for the materials, right? So we have to have some kind of rough sketch at least to approve how much we're going to spend. I'm just guessing.
We do have that money that's supposed to run out soon, I think. I don't know, because we also need a treasurer.
Probably at the end of June, right? That's
Yeah,
the fiscal
so
year.
yeah, it might be nice if we could, spend that money before we have to give it back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much we have left.
Yep.
but
Last time I
yeah.
checked, we spent, I think that whatever $1,000 was the first money we spent out of the 5,000. So
Okay.
I'm just a rough order of magnitude. I know we have a couple thousand left.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, we should spend that.
Right. Otherwise, we're not serving our full function to
Correct. Yeah.
make awesome trails for the town to
Right.
play on.
Yeah. Yeah. So that would be good. And I know the Trailblazers group is kind of chomping at the bit to get started on something.
Yeah. So I don't know. Do we reach out to them and be like, "Hey, let's talk about this?
Yeah.
Build a bridge." I like the. I mean, I think the other thing you talked about, Mark, about cutting off that old logging trail makes a lot of sense. Let's just that way. That's I think something we can approve or maybe vote on if we have to do. So I guess I'd like to close that out by making a motion that we the Alice Brown area that we approve Mark to move previously logged material to block off the logging trail to have people avoid entering into the wetland on that property.
I'll second.
And I'm typing.
Sorry for whoever has to type whatever the heck I just said.
Yeah, I'm close off a person with previously logged trail. Oh wow, I used a lot of the same words over again. Wow. I will reword that in a way that people can understand.
Thank you.
And Jake, did you second that?
I did, yes.
Okay. 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 Any other questions, comments before we vote? No. Jake.
Aye.
Who's next? Dan.
Aye.
Kathleen.
Aye.
And myself. Aye. Okay. Use. Okay. I don't know what I was typing.
Has anybody here talked to the Trailblazers? Do they have a regular conversation with the dialogue with them? Who would be the person that's like our interface with them? I don't know.
What I was hoping for, and I was going to email them because I did get an update email today, was if they could kind of, and I didn't know if it was going to be Cindy Palmer, who it was going to be, but if they could kind of like elect a representative to attend our meetings, just because
that'd be awesome.
A lot of like duplication of things.
Yeah.
Because we have representatives on other boards, so for just that reason.
Mm-hmm.
So I will email her. Okay, so we're going to close off that portion of the trail. And then, So I guess we'll have maybe one of the Trailblazers join our June 3rd meeting, just so we can talk about a potential NOI and doing a bridge.
Yep. See if they're interested in proposing something as a crossing.
Okay.
I
For
would
the area.
hesitate calling it a bridge because those
Yeah.
projects take forever. It's not a real bridge. We're looking for like a bog
Crossing.
bridge
A crossing. Okay, like a
and
bond.
like an appropriate, whether it's on piles or cribbing or sleepers. I don't know. I'm reading this whole design thing on it, but yeah, we could try to come up with something that's not extremely extensive.
Okay. Okay.
Will that be enough time to, I know that the June 3rd meeting, June, and I'm not sure about like the monies that are needed to be spent. Are we talking about using monies for this crossing, or are we talking about using monies for the schools involved?
I think for the
Or-
materials, right?
Yeah, for the materials is what I was thinking.
Mhm.
Okay.
So I believe we are funded for next year too, but if we don't spend the money for this year, we lose it, right?
Right,
So we should
exactly.
spend it.
Yeah.
Yeah. How much money are we talking about here? Because
Last year was 5,000, so
It was
I
5,000,
think
yeah.
that I haven't looked at the budget for this year. I'd imagine it's the same. Usually is. I can find that on my email.
we could probably do with a few more bog bridges. So getting materials for them would be great.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, and we have that account at Flurry Lumber too, so we can go over there.
Oh, I see. I guess I'm new to this. So we kind of know what materials are needed for bog bridges already. So we could sort of buy those things already, so to speak.
I don't personally know what materials are needed, but I'm hoping Jake or Dan do.
Well, the other thing is if we buy things ahead of time, we have to have some place to put them.
Right.
And with that, we're only the DPW is pretty much the only place in town that let us store stuff, and that's just as nice as Randall wants to be over time, So we can only buy so much ahead of time, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my parents have, a garage, so if we needed to stockpile things now that my mother's no longer driving, there's half of a garage that is free, so they're right on lead mine. They would not mind if we needed a storage place.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
I think that's everything. The only other question, I guess, where are we at with that vernal pool and Mark, were you going to tackle that, or are we still waiting on that, where the logging debris is plugging up the
Which vernal pool?
wetlands?
Well, where the logging road crosses
Yeah.
the wetland. There's all that logging debris in the wetland that was left there to be pulled out.
Yeah, I think Brittany Gutermith, my notes, I found my email.
Yeah, I think Brittany was ready to just go pull it out.
Yeah, so she didn't mention if we needed any kind of permit to do that. She was thinking we're just removing those pieces of wood.
I believe we can approve that.
Okay. All right. Oh, hang on, sorry, my computer's gonna die. I have to plug it in. My 2011 laptop is doing its best to keep up.
Wow. Antique.
Macintosh. They don't die, they just get old. Okay, we're charging. All right. Okay. Okay, was there anything else, Mark?
Low priority would be whether we wanted to rebuild that pole bridge.
Oh, right.
I recommended I don't want to go through the history of how it turned out as ugly as it did, but I could push the poles back apart, put in some 5-foot 2-bys, and make it easier to cross.
Right. Because I think, did we talk about widening where the supports are
Yeah.
and or making it longer?
The supports are still there. It'd just be a matter of pushing the pole back where it was to accommodate 5 foot wide or 5 foot long 2x4s,
Mhm.
2x6s. And I'll even go as far as I can supply those.
Oh,
Oh,
why? Thank you, sir.
Get
All right.
rid of my past sins.
I would like to make a motion to approve Mark to improve that bridge with the 2x4s as he had just spoken about.
2x6s.
I'll second that.
all right. Okay, questions, comments before we vote? No. All right, Jake,
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
Kathleen,
Aye.
and myself, aye. Okay.
Did we vote on actually removing the logging debris from the
Oh, I'd like to make a motion that we remove all logging debris from the wetland area in this conservation area.
Do we want to just narrow it down to
Sorry, that's very
a lot
vague.
of debris?
All the debris.
All of the debris.
How
We
should
need
I
to get
say
some
it?
trucks back in there.
What's the right words?
From the old logging trail that's
in the
cutting across the vernal pool.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I said.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Would anyone like to second that? I will second.
Yeah, sure. I'll second.
Okay. Thanks. Yeah. All right. Questions, comments? All right. Jake,
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
Kathleen,
Aye.
and myself, aye. Okay. Lovely.
Helical piles are on sale for $40 at Home Depot.
Really?
Can we buy things from Home Depot? That might be a question to ask our town administrator. I don't know if we have an account there.
I don't,
Or
think-
maybe
I don't. That's a great question. I don't think we do.
well, the other question could be if you get them at Home Depot, maybe you can get them at Flurry Lumber.
Right. I mean, you could always buy it, I guess, and get reimbursed.
True.
But it's usually easier, I think, using our accounts.
I wonder what installation would be like though. Like if you gotta drive this thing down like 3 feet. And you gotta
Buy one before you buy a lot. Let's make sure we like this thing.
Yeah, I should buy one and then just like do it in the backyard, see how it goes, and then do one in the woods just to see how it differs.
Make sure it's not awful.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All right, Mark. Sounds like you have your work cut out for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we need or want to schedule a site visit to get a better idea of what's needed for?
I think it'd be good.
Bridgewater?
I know I need to go check it out at some point. So if we want to schedule something that may actually help in motivating me to go and do
Right,
it.
yeah. And it does make more sense once you see it in person. Especially where the trail reroute is. I guess we could always, maybe get some flags or tape and figure out where we want to move the trail to. I don't have any flags. Does anyone have any flags or
I
tape?
have flags somewhere in my house. I guess that's not a promise because I actually have to find
Okay.
it.
We can make something, but yeah.
Yeah.
Let me just add it to my list.
or feel free to buy them and we'll reimburse you if you want a motion for that. We can do that.
I think we don't need a motion.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind. I can buy it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. I guess I'll send an email out after the meeting and Mark, I'll CC you on it and we can kind of maybe figure out a time when we can go. I'm going away this weekend, trying to get my parents to go out of town for a little bit with me, but I will be back around the next couple weekends in June.
Cool.
So I guess the sooner the better so we can spend our money before it's gone.
True. Yeah, we do need to spend it for the end of the June.
Right. So add that to my list.
I'm available that first week of June.
Okay. That would work for me as well. But all right, I'll send an email out to everyone. Okay. All right. Is that good for now before we move on? Mark, was there anything else you wanted us to address or add to our list? We can always, we'll obviously have Alice Brown on our agenda for the June 3rd meeting anyway.
Yeah, so there was the ATV incident, but it seems to
Oh,
be,
yeah.
so I'm not sure if we need to go putting tank traps in there yet.
Yeah. I think we do. The letter went out to abutters. I feel like we do need signage like we have at Clearwater. I can find out from Marla where she had those signs made. I don't recall. But signs are always helpful.
Yep.
We have hundreds of those round trail signs in the office, and we have a lot of different signs in the meeting room across from the office. I'd have to look at them to see exactly what they say, but there's dozens of, say, 12 by 16 signs.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking for like the ones that we have. We have some up at Clearwater, not like the big sign that's at the parking lot, but smaller signs where the conservation land borders up against private landowners. Because some of the trails, we ran into issues with neighbors riding. They made their own trails onto the conservation land and were just having at it. So the signs were on our land, but facing the entrance from the abutters that basically just were reiterating, you know, no motorized vehicles, you are on town property, yada, yada. So maybe some more signs like that. And they were about that size that you mentioned.
Let me see what I got and I'll get back to you.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll definitely address that as well.
Okay.
I would assume we might even still maybe have a template for those if we needed to get more signs made. Otherwise, I can just pop on over to Clearwater and take a picture. Okay. All right. Okay, so moving on then to 178 Brookyard Road. George, did you have an update? I know you sent out the email, but
without reading the whole agent's report, the update is basically in there. We did send the enforcement order. The applicant did not pick it up. I did generate a second letter. And at this point, I have two questions. One, is the agent authorized to issue fines, or is it strictly the commission members?
that's a great question.
To the bylaw. We gotta go read it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Okay, then I will request the town administrator for a legal opinion on that.
Yeah, because I mean, we haven't really had an agent for very long.
Yeah. The second issue is when we sent the enforcement order out, I also generated a first-class letter with the enforcement order in it at the same time. But I made an error in that I didn't mail it with a certificate of mailing request.
Ah, okay.
So I could, walk into court and say, yes, I mailed it, but they could say we never got what have you.
Right.
What I would like to do at this point, I have talked to the health department and they're pretty sure the judge is going to order the site cleaned up.
Mhm.
And a kind of contractor to come in and do it, which will essence accomplish the same thing that the commission is trying to do with that property.
Right.
I would like to send the enforcement order again, first class mail with certificate of mailing, and therefore we have all our bases covered should the commission wish to act under the state statute, because the judge is operating on the local bylaw.
Right.
That just, in my opinion, would make me feel much more comfortable because we're addressing a technicality.
Right.
And I don't want to get this kicked up to DEP. The first thing they may turn around and say, well, did you send it first class mail? I could say yes, but I can't prove it.
Right. Yep.
So with the commission's okay, then I will ask the town administrator who exactly has the authority to issue the fines, and I will resend the enforcement order, first class certificate of mailing.
Yes.
And as soon as I have any specific dates from the health department on any of the judge's ruling, I will pass them on.
Okay. Sounds
But
great.
bottom line it looks like this place is going to get cleaned up this year.
Mhm.
Whether it's a judge's order or the commission or what have you, it looks like it's going to happen.
That's great.
Yep.
Yeah, it's definitely an eyesore.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I got in that one, Brittany.
Perfect. 32 High Street Certificate of Compliance. I kind of thought Bucky Sparkle was going to be here.
I do believe with my agent's report, send out the engineer's certification on the site.
Okay.
He is finding, and I did a site visit with the applicant, i.e. the homeowner and the homeowner's engineer. The wetlands replication areas are in fact growing.
Oh, great.
But it's going to take some time.
Yeah.
The applicant, through his engineer on the certificate of compliance request, has also requested that the commission waive the original stipulations numbers 10 and 11, which in essence required reports from the project engineer for a couple of years.
What's
That's
his reasoning?
attached to my agent's report. And I'm trying to find the specific, I hope I made it. No, I didn't bring it with me. But basically, it's going to be very expensive, if you will, for the applicant to do something that in essence is already being certified for the engineer that's happening.
So what is, if we waive this, what is the check that this is occurring in the meantime?
Yeah.
In lieu of this?
Okay, let me look up exactly what the report requests.
Because another way to say it is, how is that being satisfied in other ways?
Right.
If you want to move on to something else while I look that up, Brittany, it may take me a couple of minutes.
Sure. Let's see. So next we had the Red Brook CR portion of his report.
Okay, that's mine too.
I can, if you want, I can just read from your.
No, I can.
Okay.
I was waiting for some warmer weather, and there was a couple of issues raised by the last report we received during the winter on this CR. Two of them involved a abandoned derelict vehicle that was parked in jurisdiction, and some tree cutting that appeared to be within jurisdiction, both of which, of course, are not allowed under the CR. I met with one of the property owners out there on Caitlin Way, excuse me, And we walked back through the woods and we found the 1953 or so Buick that has been parked there since before the CI or subdivision or anything else. Is trees growing up right through it. It would probably be much more destructive to the resource areas and the forest in general and the CR to try and get it out of there. You're going to have to cut down trees, get a flatbed truck into there. And in my opinion, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
But that's the commission's call. It is in jurisdiction, it's in Riverfront. Secondly, with the tree cutting on 5 Caitlin Way, and we have determined that the trees were actually cut on private property, not inside the CR.
Okay.
And the property owner and I have been working on it, and she has agreed that she's going to cut some trees, plant some trees to make up for the ones they cut. Why, I don't know, but that's what she said they're going to do.
Oh, so the trees that were cut were not
in the CR area.
Okay, but she wants to plant trees anyway. Awesome.
Yeah.
Love it.
And
okay.
The final thing is based on what these two issues pointed out. I have generated a letter to go out to all the adjoining property owners for the CI is attached to my agent's report, and I just like the commission's okay to send it out.
Okay.
It basically says you border a CR and you can't do anything in there.
Yeah, I did read that. I thought that was appropriate.
Okay.
Never hurts to educate.
Pardon me?
Never hurts to educate.
Yeah. Okay, that will go out, and that's all I had on Red Brook.
Okay. All right. Well, we were coming up on the rest of your conservation agents report anyway.
Okay. Well, one of the issues in there is there's been considerable discussion among the municipal conservation agents about having alternates vote. In case there is a quorum issue, it would allow you to make sure one of the alternates are there and can vote during the meeting. In my opinion, it would take a bylaw amendment to do that. And I just don't want to waste time, quote unquote. So if the commission seems that might be a good thing, I will work on the language that's necessary. I just need to know whether I should.
Sure. I don't see the negatives to it. It's nothing we need immediately, but at some point it may become important. So if something we can do as a back burner item, it'd be good to have. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, I would say it's not probably, like, for me personally, I don't know if it needs to take up all your time, at least at the moment. I think it is a back burner item.
That's fine.
I just worry about if we have alternates, are they going to have the history? Are they going to show up to all the meetings and have the history of what's being voted on?
Those are the negatives.
Right.
And the worst thing that's going to happen is that you don't have a quorum and you're going to have to postpone the meeting till the next meeting.
Yeah.
Given, however, the new, I don't know what to call them, guidance coming out from the town administrator and the town clerk, that you only need 3 right now for a quorum, I don't think it is that pressing an issue.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I mean, I don't think we've ever actually had to postpone or cancel a meeting, at least since I've been on the commission, because we didn't have a quorum.
Yeah.
We speak by, but
it's fine. We'll put it on the back burner and let it sit for now.
Okay.
The other next issue is the signature issue. The town accountant has said that I have the authority, if the commission votes to grant it to me, to sign off on issues such as paying the legal notices. I cannot sign off, however, on anything where I'm my payroll or reimbursement or anything like that. So the question becomes twofold to the commission. One, do they want me to sign off on the non-personal stuff? And two, do we want to have an alternate member besides the chair who can sign off like on my payroll every other week? Which also begs the question of having a commission treasurer.
Right. Because that's usually been the treasurer's responsibility.
Yeah, with all due respect, I can do the invoices and stuff, but I don't have the time under 18 hours a week to keep track of all the books, quote unquote.
Agreed. I guess we should just tackle that now then. Would anybody like to be treasurer? Please.
I was talking to George earlier today because I met him at the site visit, and he asked me very pleasantly, and I'm feeling like my heart is there, but feel like I'm already feeling sort of spread thin. I'm volunteering for the CPC liaison position still, which I know there's a meeting this week, so I'm feeling a little scattered, but I politely declined the offer.
Okay. I respect that. Anybody else? Somebody is going to need to do it.
I'm going to decline as well. It's my last year. My term expires soon, so I'm not going to reinstate my term.
Okay. Dan, I know you are already on the select board.
I'm on a lot of things.
You're on a lot of things.
I'm not doing more. Let's recruit somebody.
Yeah. And I don't necessarily, Hazel's so brand new. I don't necessarily want to throw that on her right now.
Yeah, she'd at least have to be here to accept it.
She would have to at least be here. But we do urgently need somebody to be treasurer.
Was Lexi working in town hall? Wasn't that
yeah
convenient?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fun.
And
Brittany, if you want, Hazel's not here tonight. Do you want me to reach out to her? And we can
if you would like to. But yeah, otherwise I don't know what we do if nobody is willing to do it. I am not going to do it. I'm doing enough. So I don't know where that leaves us.
Why don't, if I may suggest, I'll reach out to Hazel and I'll put it on the next meeting for discussion. But I do need the commission to vote to authorize me to sign the non-personal invoices. Like the legal advertisements. I had to buy a new chair because the one in the office fell apart. And that kind of stuff.
I would like to make a motion that we authorize George to sign off on all the non-personal invoices.
Thank you.
Okay. Questions or comments on that before we vote? Going once, going twice. Okay. Jake.
Aye.
Dan.
Aye.
Kathleen.
Aye.
And myself, aye.
All right, thank you.
Right.
Brittany, I'd like to jump back to the COC request of 32 High Street.
Yes.
The condition that the applicant is requesting be waived reads, the condition mandates reports prepared by a professional engineer and submitted in perpetuity to monitor the stormwater management system on site. The best management practices are functioning as intended according to the engineer, and typically a single-family home would not require catch basins and a retention pond, which this one has, let alone the monitoring of these in perpetuity. So that stipulation would stay in the land records forever.
Are they asking about the stormwater management plan? Isn't that the purview of the planning board, not the Conservation Commission?
I'm assuming this never went to the planning board because it's a single family A&R lot. They approved the A&R, but they didn't have anything to do with the construction of the house.
Oh, I thought it had to do with them clearing more than 40,000 square feet
Well,
land.
maybe it did.
That's
they
usually
haven't
what triggers a
familiar with
stormwater
that.
management plan and
Right
pushes.
now, I know that the stormwater system is functioning. And to have a PE come out every year and do this report, it's really a judgment call. If the commission thinks it's necessary, fine. It's certainly within their purview to require it.
I'm just wondering if I'm slightly uncomfortable waiving it completely. I'm wondering if there's a way to amend it to maybe the next 5 years, and only because when that property was being developed, I remember there was such an issue with stormwater.
Yes.
Really flooding and adversely affecting the neighbors across the street.
My concern is also that I think this also has to be brought to the planning board. I don't think this is our say.
Yeah.
As the conservation commission, because planning board does stormwater management.
Yeah, I'm kind of uncomfortable with making that decision.
I'm wondering why maybe both committees have to agree to this, but they need to be informed of this before.
Did they submit a letter with the request in writing?
Yes.
They did? Okay.
Did they submit it to you or to the town manager?
The engineer on his first page of his request, or rather his certification that everything was done according to plan, then went into the special conditions. He says they've been fully met, but he requests that the in perpetuity conditions be waived.
Ah, I see it. Okay. Waivers.
The other option you would have, Brittany, going along with what you said earlier, you could do something like condition 11B remains in force for 5 years from the date of the COC, or we have to record every other year for 10 years from the date of the COC. That gives the commission some assurance that the stormwater system as developed is still working.
Right. Yeah.
The homeowner doesn't look for it forever.
Well, this is the first time I think anybody's come to the town and asked for a waiver of this stormwater management. So I think we're setting precedents for how we handle stormwater management, this potential thing in the future, right? So that's something to be. I like to try to apply the same laws and rules to all members of the town.
Right. Yeah.
We're talking about 32 High Street, right?
Yes.
Yeah, well, the stormwater system, the swale, has been installed, right?
Everything has been installed that was on the plans.
It's not just that; it's also the monitoring of the retention area that has stipulations in the plan that they will provide reports on that periodically.
That seems like a bit much, but they're going to have to mow that regardless. And that's the management of those systems, is that you just don't let them grow in. Otherwise they don't work.
We had so much trouble with this site that I feel like these stipulations were put in place for a reason.
Yeah, it's a bit harsh. This was a special condition from where is this coming from?
It's triggered by the amount of land they cleared.
This is from the order of conditions that they're refuting.
And there was a certain amount of non-compliance that went on as well.
It took a long time to get to this point.
It did. Yeah, I would hate for things to fall backwards. This was
At this point, I see no reason to grant this request.
Same.
So it will make if we need a motion to deny the request, I would like to make that.
Would we be issuing the COC with denial of the request? Is that how we want to make the motion? Or,
I would strongly recommend that if you want to keep the stipulation in place, at least for now,
yeah,
move to grant the COC with the stipulations as originally generated.
okay,
The applicant can always come back to the commission at a later date and request an amendment.
okay.
Excellent.
I like it. All right.
Yes, I would like that to be my motion.
Okay, perfect. All right. Do we have a second?
Yep, second.
All right. Kathleen, do you have any questions or comments before we vote?
No, sorry. I trust sort of like what you guys were saying,
Okay.
the ones who know the property.
Okay. All right, then we will put it to a vote. Jake.
Aye.
Dan.
Aye.
Kathleen.
Aye.
And myself, aye. Okay.
The next item under my agent's report is a discussion on the webpage. We have to follow the design, if you will, of the webpage because it's the same for every department in the town. Well, so I would like to keep that design, but I'd like to change some of the links. In other words, there's a link on there to minutes that are from decades ago. I don't see why we need it. I would like to put a link on there to meeting dates and applications submitted timelines, which was again attached to the agent's report. I'd like to make sure I have the authority to update the membership as that changes. So what I'd like to do is I'm just kind of advising the commission of some of the changes I'd like to make at this point. And I'd like to go through it. I didn't want to spend a lot of time on it till I talk to you guys. I would like to talk about some of the deletions I'd like to make, some of the additions I'd like to make, and run it by you. And if you're comfortable with it, then we'll go ahead and do it.
Sure.
Is that okay with you guys?
Yeah, if you want to draw it up or whatever,
All right, then I'll proceed with that.
Mhm.
Next item, attached to my agent's report, the police chief has requested an emergency notification plan. Basically, he wants the contact info for all of you people. And I've already found a error which pointed out to me in that Commission member Jake has moved. I was only going on the information I got when I got here last year. I've changed that, and if the commission is okay with it, I'm going to send it to the police chief and the town administrator.
thank you.
Thanks, George.
Okay. The A&Rs from the planning board, one of which you dealt with tonight was the notice of intent on White Loaf Road. And the other one was on Old Country Road, and there is no jurisdiction on the one on Old Country Road. Information only. I intend to get rid of some stuff that's in the meeting room across from the conservation office that is basically 50 years old. It goes back to 1995.
Is there anything? Is there anything of importance, even though it's old? Is there anything of importance, or is it even though it's old? I don't. What is it?
It's pieces of correspondence. It's old A&Rs. It's stuff that actually, if you needed it, is all out of date and statutorily no good anyways.
Okay, so there's nothing that we wouldn't already have a record of somewhere.
No.
Good.
No.
So
I am also, for instance, I found 4 or 5 copies of a notice of intent plan, and they're big rolled up 12-sheet plans. We have to keep one, so I'm keeping one.
Okay. Sounds good.
Finally, we received a forest cutting plan on Crooked Ledge Road. I have attached my comments in the agent's report. And if the commission wishes for any reason to go out and take a look at it, I will reach out to the property owner, who's Barry Seal, and see if I can get permission. The big deal, in my opinion, is the forest cutting plan is abutting Alder Pond.
Hmm.
They are installing erosion control. They are in quite a bit of jurisdictional area. And obviously, this is one of the pet peeves of yours truly, as well as most agents in the state, that there's not much we can do about it.
Right.
But I wanted to make sure the commission was cognizant of the fact that it has been submitted.
And this is the instance in which, was it a portion of the trail system would be closed off?
No, I don't believe that was on the plan.
Okay. I thought I remembered something about some portion of Wolf Hill would not be accessible.
Yeah, but this is not Wolf Hill. This is another one.
Oh, this is another one. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
That's all I got.
All right. All right. Next item is property work elsewhere. Is there anything going on that we should know about?
I have not received anything.
I saw from the Trailblazers group, it looks like they're going out this weekend. This weekend.
On clock.
Okay.
And actually, now that you mention that, I had a correspondence from a Boy Scout.
Okay.
Wants to devote some time, and Cindy and reached out back to him, said, "Come on up to clock," and they have the generic whole hamlets that they'll have executed.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Updates from other boards.
The only thing we've received is the A&R plans, which I discussed earlier.
Perfect. Right, and then up to reviewing the minutes from May 6th.
I've reviewed the minutes from May 6th, and I have found them to be sufficient and accurate. I move that we approve them.
Love it. Second.
Right, and I guess we'll vote. Jake,
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
Kathleen,
Aye.
and myself, aye. Correspondence, I think we've heard everything. Any other business concerns that cannot await the next meeting scheduled for June 3rd?
Just the comment that it kind of fits in correspondence.
Mhm.
We did approve to do more herbicide application at oh geez, yeah, along the Manhan River in the spot that we've been treating, so Manhan Meadows and such. We did do that a couple meetings ago, but I still have not booked a time with the contractor.
Okay.
Been sort of elusive about that. He just kind of said, like, yeah, let me know, and I'll show up.
Okay.
So I think we're kind of contingent on some other work that was happening there. So did we get a date for the bridge?
Last I heard is the plans were almost done. The engineer had to go out and do some more site work, and he hoped to have them to us by the end of this month.
Okay.
I'll certainly notify everybody when we get them.
Okay, so they won't mobilize this summer then, probably.
No, yes. I mean, it is.
They will mobilize.
Pardon me?
They will mobilize this summer, you think?
I'm sorry, Jake. I'm having trouble here understanding you.
Oh yeah. Let me be more clear. Do you think that the bridge will go to construction at Manhan Meadows this year?
Yeah, I'm hoping that it's going out to construction this summer. I mean, out to bid.
Okay.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you. That was it. But George, thank you so much. You did a lot of work since the last meeting.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right. Other than a potential site visit on Crooked Ledge, any other site visits coming up or that need to be scheduled? Other than also going out to Alice Brown? None. Okay. Next meeting dates I have for June 3rd and June 17th. Anything else before we adjourn? No. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Dan.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Great. We have so few members, there's only so many options. All right. All right. Jake.
Aye.
Dan.
Aye.
Kathleen.
Aye.
Myself, aye.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.